Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another great week. It's Tuesday here. We've just had the long weekend with Memorial Day yesterday, remembering all of those who have fought in our armed forces to keep America free. Just so grateful for that. So we spent the day yesterday honoring them, and it's been a lovely, restful, long weekend. And that's part of what I wanted to bring to you this morning as I was walking and talking with Jesus and saying, Lord, what do you want to say this morning? This topic of surrender came up. That we're all facing circumstances at the moment. There's a particular friend of mine who has been trying to buy a house for like 18 months. And they've tried everything. Them and their family have tried everything. They constantly search every day. They search the property websites to try and find a property. They go and see tons of properties. They have got an investigated neighborhoods themselves to see the kind of properties they would like to live in. They've made multiple offers, multiple offers, and either somebody comes and makes a better offer, or the house is sold the next day, or it's taken off the market, or something always happens. And I was speaking to them a few days ago, and they're just done. They're tired. They're God, don't know what you're doing, don't know what's happening. We think we're listening, we think we're doing all we know how to do, and I've tried as hard as we can. We're doing all the stuff we know to do. And so as I went for my walk the next day, I was just talking to the Lord about that, and I said, Lord, that's a common story we all of us Christians talk about at one time or another in our lives, right? And we go, Lord, we've tried as hard as we can. We've tried to do all that we know to do. And I said to him, what do you have to say about that? What are you thinking? What do we walk away with? And he said to me, Lisa, that's the phrase right there. That's the key, is that you've tried as hard as you can. I said, but Lord, I get that we're not supposed to do things in our own strength, but we are supposed to co-labor with you. All through the word, you say that we must believe that you are God and that you are the rewarder of those who diligently seek you. There's parts that we do, parts that you do, and this is how we co-labor. This is how we do life. So can you explain to me what it means that try as hard as you can doesn't work, and what that looks like from heaven's perspective? So as he walked me through it, he was just saying that there are still so many times when we try as hard as we can. So we put in a ton of effort, and we try to exhaust every avenue, and we do all that we can do, and there's a lot of doing behind it. Second thing is that we think that a certain definition of success will mean that we've been successful. So in my friend's case, that they'll get a house that they can afford and they can move into it, right? That would be the definition of my prayers being answered and success has been achieved. And then that we, even though we walk with him and try and ask him the questions as we go, okay, Lord, what do we do? What are we doing? That we still haven't really surrendered to what his definition of success will be, what he wants done in the situation. So I said, Lord, thank you for that wisdom. Thank you for that guidance. What do we do about it? What's the invitation from heaven? What's the truth that tells us the truth about these three things, right? Instead of what we think about them. And he said to me, Lisa, it all comes down to the fact. There's just one more story I want to share with you. I had a friend who was very ill with cancer, and this friend died. No matter how much we prayed, we did everything we knew to do, and my friend passed away. And periodically, when I get low and when I don't understand, I go back to God and I go, why did they die? Why did they die? We did everything, the same phrase, we did everything we knew to do. Why did they die? And so he was walking me through these two scenarios of something that we physically want on earth, something that's so dear to us. But both of them were that we prayed and we fasted and we had faith and we tried everything we knew to try. And he said, Lisa, it's not, and this was the key. This is the phrase that'll help us to see from heaven's perspective, right? And he said to me, Lisa, it's not what happens in the circumstance. It's that I am with you in the circumstance. And I was so struck by this. I've heard him talk about this before. But it so resonated with me, and I said, so Lord, what does that mean? How do we walk that out? What does it look like? How do we when our hearts are sore and we don't understand something, how do we how do you speak to our heart? How do you help us to get through that? When the circumstances in front of us are looming and there are very real consequences to our actions and our decisions, how do we deal with that? When you say that it's you that are with us that is the most helpful thing, how does that help my friend to know that what to do with the fact that her and her family need to move out of their house like this last weekend and they don't have anywhere to go because they haven't been able to buy a house? How does that help my friend's spouse navigate life without them? You know, and because these are the real questions. These are the things that we feel, that we go through, that matter to us, that we need answers to, right? So as I was talking to him about it, and one thing I have found is that Jesus is not afraid of my real. He's not afraid of me being frustrated or not understanding or asking hard questions. He loves that because that's part of relationship, right? So he said to me, Lisa, success was not that your friend didn't die. Success in heaven's perspective, and maybe success is the wrong word, but God's will being done, his longer view and plan of what's happening in our lives, all of that happening looks like Jesus being with my friend's spouse, even though the circumstances happened. Heaven's viewpoint says that God's will being done and Romans 8:28 working out in my friend's life as they're negotiating and navigating the situation with their house. From heaven's viewpoint, the fact that they are with my friend and their family is the definition of success, is what heaven is aiming for, so that we're not rocked by our circumstances, so that we're not dictated to by the balance in our bank account or whether our prayers are answered the way we think they need to be answered. We're not affected by what people say of us, what the circumstances say of us. And I said, oh, wow, Lord. So how do we get to that place where you are our central focus, where the fear doesn't speak louder than you're speaking, where the worry about the consequences of what's going to happen, like in my friend's case, the loneliness, doesn't speak louder than knowing that you're with us. And he said that's one of the things, Lisa, is that you guys listen to fear more than asking me where I am and what I'm doing. So the fear of consequences of not having a home to go to for my friend are speaking louder and having more voice than Jesus is with us. And if he doesn't have a house for us to go into now, then he has another plan. And that plan is going to be good. Whether it feels so for us because of the way our flesh reacts or not is a different story. But in the book of your life, in the way God is looking at your life and helping things to work out, it's good. And we know that he puts this huge puzzle of our life together, and we can only see like the bottom left-hand corner while he's building all the rest of the puzzle, right? And so we can't judge the rest of the puzzle by the bottom left-hand corner, which is the piece that we can see now. And so he said to me, really, the point of all of this is surrendering to the fact that Jesus is with us, that his plans for us are good, to prosper us and not to harm us, so we don't need to worry about the harm, and that he never leaves us nor forsakes us, that he walks with us through the valley of the shadow of death. He says he walks through. He doesn't say we're not going to go through them, right? He says when you go through them, I will walk with you. So we're not going in them alone. He's going to walk with us. And he says, my staff will protect you and my rod will guide you. Sorry, other way around. My rod will protect you and my staff will guide you. That means that nothing has the ability to harm us as we walk through the valley of the shadow of death because God is with us and protecting us. It also means that we'll never get lost in the valley of the shadow of death because his staff is guiding us. We just need to keep our eyes on him and keep walking towards that, and he'll get us out of the valley of the shadow of death. And I know that's a deep topic, but wow. And it'll take a lot more unpacking, but I encourage you today to, just as you talk with Jesus, as you walk through the day today, as you accept this invitation to an adventure of finding out what these new levels of surrender mean, like surrendering to, Lord, your will be done today. Honestly, on earth as it is in heaven, your will be done today. Show me how to pray in line with what you're praying. Show me how to be surrendered, to let you prune me, to let you guide me and lead me and help me in the direction that you want to go, to not get stuck on my definition of success, and whether my prayers are being answered, but actually just to hold your hand and walk with you through the day. Go where you go, lead where you lead, ask to see what you're seeing, ask to experience what you're experiencing, and ask for the grace to be able to speak to our hearts, to not listen to fear louder than what you're saying, and just to take every day, to take step by step by step with you into the day. So that's what I bless you with today, is to know that Jesus is always with you. Hebrews 13:5-6. Never leaves you, never forsakes you, always with you. His plans are good. We don't always understand them, but we can walk through them knowing that He loves us, that He's for us, and He's actively guiding our life according to a good plan. I would love to hear what He says to you about this. What revelation do you get? Because I've been unpacking it for a couple of days now, just asking more and more questions. Let's talk about this together. Tell me what you think underneath it. Tell me what Holy Spirit's saying to you in the comments underneath this video. Let's walk through this together, because this is truth that'll help us get through anything. And I'm very, very grateful to be walking through the revelation of it. So come across and visit us at awjtoday.com. Sign up for the podcast so that you get encouragement each week. And here on our Facebook page, let's have a discussion about what it looks like to go on these adventures with Jesus, because it's fascinating, and what a privilege we get to do it. So as always, Jesus is inviting you on an adventure today. Will you accept?